Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am so excited for today. Okay, so this is something that's been a long time coming. I've been thinking about it for the past couple of weeks and how I'm going to execute it, and I'm finally sitting down to do it. And this is going to be known as my Black Beauty series. And if you don't know me, I'm a little bit of a nerd and I really do love history. And I thought this was a great way right now more than ever to talk about Black history, peoples, places, events, and use Black-owned beauty brands and do my makeup. So you kind of get a little bit of art and beauty and you get to learn a little bit too. Yeah, so every week or so, I'm going to be talking about something that has happened in Black history, whether it be a person, whether it be an event that has happened, whether it be a holiday, anything. And I am amazed as I'm researching all of this how much stuff is really out there. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And it's stuff that's really fun for me to learn too, that I didn't get to learn in school or didn't get to learn just in life, or I found out right now at 29 years old. So it's really fun. And then while I do that, I'm going to be doing my makeup and always featuring like a Black-owned beauty brand, whether it be blush, foundation, highlighter, anything. But just make sure to always incorporate that and show you guys one of those so we have, you know, a bunch of Black love. Now, small disclaimer, if you are not interested, that's okay. I don't need the negative comments down below. Just don't watch. You can just move on to the next video if you're not interested in learning. If it's not for you, I understand. But I really think this could be something to help us all grow as a community and learn together about Black history, right? And it can also help me and everyone else learn about Black beauty products that we maybe didn't know were out there. I'm really excited to share it with you, and let's jump into the video. I was like going through my head about like, okay, where should I start? When should I start? I want to be kind of like relevant with, you know, what's going on right now, but like I think part of it too is just like history in general. Like I feel like the media and social media right now is doing a really good job at, you know, focusing on everything that's current. So I didn't want to do so much current events as like really go back in history and like learn about some stuff that's not in our textbooks. Let's face it. So with that, I was like, okay, well, where do I want to start? What do I want to do first? And I thought to myself, you know what? It's June, it's summer. Let's start with Juneteenth. I thought it would be a great place to, you know, start researching, looking up stuff, and then, you know, bring it to you guys. I have to be honest, MiKayla and Hawkinson, did not know about Juneteenth, the holiday, until I was 26 years old, okay? That's a little crazy, right? I mean, wow. Yeah, and I'm 29 now, so I've known about it for a few years, and I've gotten to share it with some people, and now I'm like, you know what, that is a great place to start for these videos, is Juneteenth. It's a wonderful holiday, and yeah, it really helps embody such a big part of Black history. Okay, so what is Juneteenth? Juneteenth is the oldest nationally commemorated holiday to celebrate the independence of slavery in the United States of America. The Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, General Gordon Granger, the G's always get me, plopped themselves down in Galveston, Texas, and said, and I quote, "The war has ended, the enslaved are now free." So, now I know what you're thinking, in a sense. Well, I could have sworn that Abe Lincoln, you know, good old honest Abe, where's my concealer, did the Emancipation Proclamation, freed the slaves before that. Why is this celebrated? The whole night. And we'll get to that, absolutely. Because it is a little confusing as to what the difference between like Juneteenth is and the Emancipation Proclamation, and the time difference. I think the time difference is kind of wild. So, Abraham Lincoln was our 16th president of the United States, and he led us through a whole bunch. The Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation, until it came to his untimely death where he was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. And in that process and in that time, the Emancipation Proclamation led to the abolishing of slavery. So it was a really huge deal. It was a big document written out and set forth, but that was started in January 1st of 1863. And then it's like, well, Juneteenth happened June 19th of 1865. So, like, where's that 2-year gap? That's a little confusing. Like, what's that all about? Sorry, it's really hard to talk and bounce this sponge up and down your face. You're like, ugh. So, every once in a while, you gotta pause and do a couple things in between, just to make sure that everything's blended nicely on your face. So, there were rebellious states that fell into place when all of this happened, and they're like, okay, well, the Emancipation Proclamation is here. We need to have an employer-employee relationship. Slaves are free. Whereas the Union-led states left everyone still in chains. They did not follow suit in 1863, and they were like, well, you know what? We still want slavery. We still need our crops to flourish and our cotton to be grown. And, well, we're clearly too lazy to do it ourselves, so we need to have slaves to do it for us. I don't know. It's flipping wild. But yes, so not every state during the Civil War fell into place, right? So that kind of brings along like where Abraham Lincoln and the Emancipation Proclamation was versus Juneteenth happening 2 days later. And then, well, what about the 4th of July and Independence Day and all that stuff? Well, okay, sorry, did my brows off camera. Where were we? 4th of July. So, why is the 4th of July different than Juneteenth? Well, the 4th of July was in 1776. I hope I'm getting all these dates right. I tried memorizing all of them. I do have notes right here, though. Let's be honest. In 1776 was when the United States declared themselves as a free, independent nation, right? And that was what, over 100 years before. But that did not apply to everybody. So slaves were not included in that Independence Day, and they were still enslaved. Right. So then we jump back to Abraham Lincoln, the Emancipation Proclamation, and he, set into motion the abolishing of slavery. It was really quite amazing what he did. But however, since it did not reach those southern states, people, and especially in Texas, were still enslaved. Now, here's almost a conspiracy kind of thing to all of this. Why did it take 2 years, 2 years from the Emancipation Proclamation and Juneteenth? Like, why did it take so long for it to reach to the South and for those other states to fall in line and become free? Because that's a little crazy, right? That, like, if you lived in one place but not in the other, in a completely independent nation, you could be a slave or you could be a free human. It's all very hooey, right? I think it's all very ridiculous. But, so, oh my God, what do I want to do next to my eyes? There are some weird theories out there that, back then, the only way to mail information was to send it by a guy on horse, and the guy on horse, this makes me so uncomfortable, that's why I'm kind of giggling. The guy on horse was possibly hunted down and killed. Like, oh, he's going to deliver the message that these slaves are about to be free, and we need them, so let's go kill that guy off. What? But very well could have happened. That could very well have been a conspiracy. Like, I believe that. Other states, and generals, should I say, that governed those states, and federal troops were like, you know what? I'm gonna hold out. I'm just going to wait and see what happens. And, if someone comes and tracks me down and they're like, oh, sir, you still have slaves on your property. They're free now. Then maybe I'll fall into line. But until then, I'm going to play the guy who knows no different. What's the word? Isn't there a word for that? I'm going to play dumb and pretend that my slaves are still intact and you can't tell me what to do. So therefore, they just kind of did this whole, well, I didn't do anything wrong. And therefore, until you catch me, I am innocent until proven guilty by having slaves. Weird. Another theory is that masters, slave owners, these plantation owners were like, you know what? If I can get like 1 or 2 less harvests or crops of cotton out of my slaves, I'm going to do so. And you know what? The feds will be none the wiser, right? So then they would keep the slaves for labor and then, get 1 more crop of cotton out of them and then be like, okay, well, now you gotta go because, slavery and shackles and free labor isn't a thing anymore. I guess I have to follow suit, right? This is really hard to do, by the way, both of these. This is a great learning experience. I know I always talk about the makeup while you do the makeup, but to talk about history while you do the makeup, it's a growing experience, I'll tell you. So, next on the agenda, how is Juneteenth celebrated? And mainly through like barbecues, big fun parades, music, poetry slams, a whole lot of it, right? So it's really just like there's a lot of different terms for it, you know, jubilation and celebration, you know, of being free in America. Needless to say, the reactions from everybody were, you know, varied. Those of color went to seek out their families or move north, and those that, you know, weren't really into it, obviously they supported slavery, they loved the free labor, retaliated in their own ways, and obviously that's carried into the 1900s and civil rights and so on and so forth. But a bunch of ways are with parades, music, like I said, barbecues. Really interesting thing about barbecues being connected to Juneteenth is that back when slavery was going on, the smell of barbecue and the access to like lamb and pork and some different types of beef weren't always, you know, just at your fingertips. And obviously people of color, you know, didn't eat the same way a lot of the time. So the aroma of a barbecue pit is supposed to symbolize, you know, moving forward and having the opportunity to eat like kings, you know, to be free and eat, which I thought was really, really interesting. A lot of parades broke out, a lot of celebration, which was really cool, and those still happen today. States down south that still celebrate it or see it as a national holiday, they really love that. They really take to the streets and, you know, celebrate their independence and the love. And it's just a great day to be with your families and, you know, celebrate independence. Also, in connection to food, something that I thought was really interesting surrounding Juneteenth was soda pop and strawberries, like strawberry soda pop, red soda pop, strawberries the fruit, and red velvet cakes were used. It's kind of like a twofold back end, but they were used to help those understand that the color represented the blood of the ancestors, the blood of slaves, those that lost their lives to slavery and that helped them get to this point. It was more of like an honoree kind of food, which I thought was fascinating. I had no idea. And then even twofold to that, the red represents slaves coming over here from the Congo and being lured in with red flannel and different types of garments. So, you know, the idea of red in food when celebrating the independence of slaves and African Americans, you know, really dates quite far back, even further than we had ever thought. So that is why a lot of the food is represented in cherries, strawberries, red velvet cakes, even like the color of the barbecue. You know, those were considered special meats from the ancestors, as we said. So all of that kind of is there to bring to light what we've now been given and to be thankful for what we have that our ancestors died for us, right? Kind of like Jesus and wine, in a sense. I feel like that has like a slight parallel to it. First, I want to also feature the Black-owned beauty brand that I'm using today. This is JUVIA's Place. I absolutely love them. I'm going to be using their Sahara blush. This is the volume 2. I've used these before. I absolutely love these. This is the volume 2, and this color right here, Tau. I'm going to be using that all over my cheeks. I can't get enough of these palettes. I love that I have, you know, this can travel with me. I have 6 different colors like right at my fingertips. I think they're wonderful. And I thought it would be really well to complement like the orange on my eyes. And then I think I'm gonna do like a peachy corally number on my lips. Oh yeah, that looks pretty. I like a lot of blush. What can I say? I love a lot of blush. And then I also wanted to try today, I've never tried this before, the Heroin Glow 1 by JUVIA. It is, it's like a cool little like box. I can't even get it open, of course. Of course I can't get it open. Oh, it's a highlighter. Look at that. That is beautiful. Oh yeah, look at that. So let's add this to the cheeks. Yes, please. So a couple things to wrap up with as we finish up the makeup here. A really interesting fact that I find wild as we learn more and more about Juneteenth is that it's not actually recognized in every state. So we are one independent nation. This was declared forward a couple hundred years ago, and it's actually not recognized as a national holiday in every state. That's wild, right? Like, that's crazy. So Juneteenth is a federal holiday in 45 of our 50 states. Let me repeat that. Juneteenth is considered a federal holiday in 45 of our 50 states. Weird. That's just so strange to me. But, you know, each state has its own independent set of rules as well. So that is one of them. Now, we have seen more companies set forth that they're recognizing it as a federal and national holiday, giving their employees the day off. And I think that's great that we're moving forward and recognizing it to be just as important as the 4th of July and the independence of the whole nation, declaring themselves as a free nation, and as well as all the people now completely being free, because that obviously happened at 2 separate times. So with that, what can we take away from Juneteenth? How do we celebrate it? I think it's a really wonderful way to celebrate Black culture, art, music, fashion, dance, all these things that are given to us, hair, nails, poetry, everything that's been given to us by Black culture. It's really an awesome day just to come together and celebrate, have a barbecue. You do it for Memorial Day and 4th of July anyways. Incorporate this into it. You know, if you have people in your lives that are people of color, if you don't, it's just a great way to celebrate another milestone in our country's history that really hasn't been recognized as much, but it is now, you know, getting a lot more attraction and notoriety, and I think that's really awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope I did well. This was wild. I'm really glad that I did this. Everything that I put on my face is listed with a link down below for you. All of the places where I researched about Juneteenth is listed down below. If there is anything that I missed that you want me to know about, I am obviously no expert. I just enjoy researching. Please leave it down in the comments. Let's start a conversation about this. Let's start a dialogue. And if you have any questions about my makeup, leave that down below too. And I can't wait to do another one of these. This is my first one. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Have the most amazing barbecue, read some great poetry, listen to some wonderful music, and celebrate the beauty of Black culture. And thank you guys so much. I will talk to you soon. Bye.